you give me 1 second?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Your voice is echoing. I don't know why. Can you let me just disconnect and call back? I'm not sure why the voice it's echoing like twice.
Yeah, I made you as a presenter. You can start the session.
Okay. Sufyan, hope you are joining through mobile. Okay, try to join by using your laptop or computer.
So I should join through the laptop or the computer?
Yeah, it's better actually because the signals of the mobile usually dropping like so, and you'll not be
Okay.
able
Yeah.
to see the screen properly as well.
Okay. Can you give me 1 minute? I'll just rejoin again. I'm calling from the mobile actually.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll call back on that number.
Okay. Yes. So, Sufyan, are you able to see my screen and am I audible to you?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay then. So good. So the part of the first session, like we will see, we will get into we'll know about different components of BODS and how each component is correlated to each other, and we will see different objects of the BODS today. So the main focus will be on objects of the BODS, as the architecture of the BODS I have already discussed in the demo.
Yes, but are you gonna repeat that, or you're gonna go over that, or what?
I just going to repeat the architecture and just recap the architecture and then get into the objects of BODS. So what you prefer then? Tell me.
No, I'm just saying, like I've seen the demo of it. If you can just skim through it real quick, that would be helpful.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay. So let's. Sufyan, like, hope you are aware, like, by seeing the demo, like, what is an ETL tool and in which business scenarios an ETL tool is required. So ETL has an abbreviation like extraction, transformation, and load. So we'll be extracting data from some source system and then transforming it and loading data into a target. Transformation is nothing but we will be applying business rules on the data, enhancing the data, parsing the data, correcting the data, cleansing the data, implementing some business rules on the data, making the data suitable to the target. So this all we'll do as part of the transformation. So in the real world, like we require ETL tools in two kind of projects. One is a data migration project and the other is a data warehousing project. So as a experienced guy, I hope you might be having some knowledge like what about a data migration and what's about a data warehousing project. Data migration project is something like you will be migrating from a legacy system. Let's take as an example, some business is using PeopleSoft as a legacy ERP. So their business has grown and they want to implement SAP now. So this is a data migration project where we need to extract data from a PeopleSoft legacy and then transform the data and then load the data into target. So why a transformation is required? Because if you are implementing something in a new system, it means that business is expecting some new functionality on the target system. So we'll converting the data according to the suitability of the target. So for that, we'll be applying some business rules on the data and make the data suitable to the new functionality in the target. So this is how we'll do as part of the data migration. So when it comes to data warehousing, we will be extracting data from a transactional system, OLTP system, and then transform the data we will convert the data into historical data and then load the data into the target data warehouse. So we require ETL tools in data migration as well as data warehousing. Right? Okay. So coming to, let's get into the components of BODS. So this is the architecture of BODS, that what we see here. We do have many components like designer, a management console, repository, job servers, and many things. So here designer is a GUI workspace. If you want to do some development related activities, if you want to develop a job, so the entire source to target mappings, extractions, transformations, loadings, everything happens inside the designer. I mean, we design the jobs by using the designer. Designer is a GUI workspace where the actual ETL development happens. Coming to repository.
Okay, so BODS basically has like different kinds of tools you're saying, right? There's designer tool.
Yes.
Then there's what are the tools?
Is a one suite.
Yeah, data service.
Is a one suite. Yes, it's a one suite where these all the components are involved.
Okay.
Okay. So out of this component, designer is a GUI environment where the actual ETL development will happen. Coming to repository, it's a part of database. In fact, it's a database. So where the objects that are created in the designer will be stored. Repository is a place where the objects that are created in the designer will be stored. Coming to, in BODS, we do have two types of jobs. We have two types of jobs. One is a batch job, the other is a real-time job. If you trigger any job, the request first comes to job server. Job server is a central server. It will try to identify the type of the job. If it is a real-time job, it will route the request to the access server. If it is a real-time job, it will route the request to the access server. If it is a batch job, it will be executed by itself. In BODS, we do have two types of jobs. One is a batch job, the other is a real-time job. So what is the difference between the batch job and a real-time job? If you are getting a request, if you are getting a XML request and you want to send back an XML response, you are getting an XML request and you want to send back an XML response. In those scenarios, you will be using the real-time job. Coming to in rest all scenarios, any data migration, data warehousing scenarios where you will be extracting data from some source system tables or flat files, transforming it and loading into some tables. In those scenarios, you will be using batch jobs. So real-time job is a rare scenario. 99% will be using the batch jobs. So if you are getting any XML request for any external application and you want to send back an XML response, in those scenarios you will be using the real-time jobs. If you trigger any job, whether it is a batch job or a real-time job, the request first comes to job server. Job server will try to identify the type of the job. If it is a real-time job, it will route the request to the access server. If it is a batch job, it will be executed by itself. Apart from this, you do have, in the diagram, you will be able to see an address server as well. You will be able to see an address server. Here, as you see in the demo, Business Objects Data Services is a combination of Business Objects Data Integrator and Business Objects Data Quality. So BODI plus DQ equal to BODS. So as part of data quality, you have address cleansing. Address cleansing is nothing but BODS is having the capability to correct the addresses. So if the job server identifies a data quality address cleansing job, it will route the request to the address server. I repeat here, if you trigger any address cleansing job, if the job server identifies any address cleansing job, It will route the request to the address server. Coming to business objects data services management console, we will use the management console to schedule a job, to execute a job, to check the performance monitor of a job, to check the log files of a job, and some admin related activities. So these are the components that we have in BODS. So you are able to follow, Sufyan?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now I'll show you how the designer looks like, and we will see different objects of BODS. Here, once I give the credentials,
I
username
just
and
had
password.
one. Can I ask one
Yes, tell
question
me.
quickly?
Yeah, yes,
So
please.
if address
Go ahead.
if address server is used for like address cleansing, you said, right?
Yes.
So what if we don't have the address server installed? Like, can the address not be cleaned, or is the address server mandatory, or?
If you want to work on any address cleansing jobs, address server is mandatory, and that will come as part of installation itself.
Okay. And regarding the job, right? You mentioned there's like 2 jobs, real time and batch job.
Bad jobs.
Yeah. So can a project basically have more than one job?
Definitely, a project will be having n number of jobs, usually n number of batch jobs. Okay, so the project
Okay.
will be divided into different modules. So in
Mhm.
each module, you will be having n number of jobs.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Sufyan, did I address your question?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Thank you. So once I give the username and password and click on log on, you will be able to see a list of repositories. Here. So which the user is having the access. I am selecting this repository and clicking on OK. So this is how the designer looks like. This is a project area. This is a menu. And anyway, no need to introduce. So see here, this is the repository where my mouse pointer is there. Here. So it means like you have logged in into this repository. This is the local object library where my mouse pointer is rotating. Okay, whatever the objects that you create in the designer will be stored in this repository ds_repo2. So all the objects that you have already created in this repository, you will be able to see here. These are all the projects, these are all the jobs, these are all the workflows, these are all the data flows. So these are all the different type of objects you will see one by one. So whatever you create here, that will be stored in the repository. Now I'm creating a project. Go to project, new project. So in real time, your project name, the standard naming conventions for project is PRJ underscore. Usually, a project is divided into some set of modules. So for each module, a project will be created. Usually, one or two developers will be handled the different modules. So each module, a different project is created in BODS in the designer. And the standard naming convention is project PRJ underscore to module name underscore you can here project underscore you can give the project name and module name. That is one thing. You can simply give the project underscore module name. So whichever you like. So anything meaningful name is a standard naming convention with respect to the project. So if you right click here, right click on a project. If you right click on a project, you will be able to see new batch job and a new real-time job. So if you want to create a new batch job, you select the new batch job. I have created a new batch job. Job under the standard naming convention for a job is job underscore module name underscore purpose of the job underscore source system that you are using in this job. So this is the standard naming convention that has to be followed. So coming to here, a job, a project, everything is an independent reusable object. A job is an independent reusable object. So this is the project you have created now. You will be able to see in the local object library. You will be able to see the same project in the local object library. So if you want to switch over to any other project, you can simply double click on the local object library. If you want to switch over any other project, simply double click on the local object library. That's all. That's all you need to do. I'll come to that. So here, a job is also an independent object. If you go to jobs here, where my mouse pointer is there, the local object library, you will be. This is the job that you have created. This is the job. These are all the jobs that have been created by different developers previously. So whatever you create, that will be stored in the local object library. If you want to reuse any other job, as I told you, job is an independent reusable object. If you want to reuse this job in this project, just drag and drop upwards. That's it. Just drag and drop upwards. If you want to reuse it, just drag and drop. Suppose if you want to switch over to any other project and reuse this job, simply double click on that project in the local object library, go to the job which you want to reuse it in any other project, drag and drop upwards. That's all. Here a job is an independent object. You are just creating an association between a job and a project. That's all. You are creating an association. So now let's create a data flow. So now I'm creating a data flow. I'll introduce another two objects which is called as workflow and data flow. Workflow and data flow. So this is called as tools palette, where my mouse pointer is moving up and down. Tools palette. So this is the data flow icon. This is the data flow icon. I'm just dragging and dropping the data flow. This is the project area. This is the local object library. This is the work area or canvas. This is tools palette. This is tools palette. This is the standard naming convention that has to be given for any data flow. Coming to what is a data flow. So the name itself says that data flow, how that will be defining how the data flows from source to target. The actual ETL business logic can be implemented inside a data flow. Inside a data flow, the actual ETL mapping happens inside a data flow. So we'll tell you like how the data will flow from source to target. How the data flows from source to target. Data flow. So here the data flow is also an independent object, an independent reusable object. So this is the data flow icon in the local object library. If you click on that, you will be able to see this is the data flow that you have created now. So you will be having many other data flows. So you can use, if you want to reuse any other data flow, just drag and drop a data flow in the work area. That's it. You can reuse it now. You can reuse it. So a data flow is an reusable independent object. You are just creating an association between a job and a data flow. You are creating an association between a job and a data flow. Suppose you have implemented some business logic in data flow 1. So in some other module, they have a exactly similar requirement, and they want to, suppose in the data flow 1, you have implemented ABC logic. In some other module, they want to implement ABCD. So you have already implemented ABC. So only just you have to enhance it with D. So if you reuse the same data flow and enhance it, then that will affect in some other module, because as the data flow is an independent object, if you change one place, it will be affected everywhere. So if you want to reuse it, drag and drop. If you want to enhance it, right click on a job, replicate. You can just create a clone. You can just create a clone of a object. You can create a clone of a project, job, data flow, workflow, many things. I'm clicking on replicate. So you got a copy of. Now change the name. Now instead of dragging and dropping the previous version, now drag and drop this clone version. And now enhance your job. So if you want to reuse any existing object, just drag and drop. If you want to enhance any existing object, if you want to reuse the existing functionality and enhance it on the top of that, just replicate it, so that your existing code will not get disturbed.
Sim, can you just repeat what you said about how one place, if we change, it will be effective all the data flows?
Yes. So here let's take like there is a job 1 in HR module. There is a job 1 in HR module. They are implementing ABC logic. So in some other finance module, they have a similar business requirement. The difference is like they want to implement ABCD. If you drag and drop this data flow in HR module, in finance module, and use it, if you change the job, that will be affected in both modules. As the data flow is an independent object, if you change it in one place, it will be affected everywhere, because data flow is just having an association with a job. It is an independent object. If you change it one place, wherever the data flow is using, everywhere it is get affected. Okay. For that reason, if you want to reuse it, drag and drop and directly reuse. If you want to enhance it, Suppose HR module has implemented ABCD, the same requirement you are having in finance. In that case, you can simply drag and drop and use it. In the finance, if you want to implement ABCD, then replicate this object, create a clone of this and use the clone copy and enhance it.
Okay, but how can we know which of the jobs we are part of?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, how can we know which other job data flow is part of?
Yes. So here, suppose let's take the previous example, HR module and the FI module. The standard naming convention should definitely be different. That is one thing. And the other thing is, here you will be having a document called a traceability matrix. You will be having a document called a traceability matrix, where you will be having the different job names, data flow names, table names used in the workflows used in the job and everything. All the details will be seen in the traceability matrix. This is one thing. And to take the advantage of the reusable components, here some lead level guy, architect or a project lead will be involving in the functional discussions of all the modules. And a cross KT will happen, cross functional KT will happen, so that you will be identifying the reusable components and or the reusable objects, and you make use of that. That's all.
Okay.
Okay. So did I address your question?
Yes, you did.
Okay. So think so. In a job, you have 4 objects. In a job, you have 4 objects. All the objects should be parallel, the way that you are seeing here. So, or else all the objects should be sequentially connected. All the objects should be parallel if they do not have any dependence on each other, or all the objects should be sequential, like this. It should not be in this way. It should not be in this way. It will throw you an error. All the objects in a job should be parallel, or all should be sequential. It should not be both. So let's take like the same example, like you have 4 data flows in a job. These 2 data flows are dependent on each other. These 2 data flows are dependent on each other. When compared to these two sets are independent of each other. These 2 sets are independent of each other. In this case, so either it should be sequential or it should be parallel. It cannot be both. But here, logically, these 2 only dependent on each other, and these 2 only dependent on each other. So you cannot take advantage of the parallel executions then. So now here I'll introduce a workflow. Workflow will help us in executing decision making of executing the data flows. Decision making of executing the data flows. So this is the workflow object where my mouse pointer is there. I have taken 2 workflow objects. I am selecting these 2 objects, click on cut. Going inside the workflow, right click, paste. Now in the similar way I am copying these objects in workflow 2. Now these 2 data flows are dependent and these 2 are connected. Here these 2 data flows are dependent, these 2 are connected. But these 2 workflows are independent of each other and we are executing it as parallelly. So workflow will help us to executing help us in designing the execution process for data flows. So you are taking advantage of the parallel executions as the two separate set of independent workflows will be executed in separate workflows parallelly. So this is an optimized design. So this is the best way of designing. Coming to here, workflow is also an independent object. You will be able to see the workflows here where my mouse pointer is there. So if you want to reuse any workflow here, just drag and drop. If you want to enhance it, right click and replicate. So only thing that you have to remember is all the objects in a job either should be sequential or should be parallel. You can have n number of objects. So data flow is nothing but the actual business logic will implement inside a data flow. Will tell you like how the data flows from source to target. So while implementing a job, you might be having n number of data flows. You might be having n number of data flows. Some objects might be dependent on each other, some might be independent on each other. So you can use the workflows for executing the data flows. So as per the best practice, the workflow should be the first object in a job. So any questions, Sufyan, till now?
No, I'm good, Narsin.
Okay, good. So these are the four objects. Now we will see an object called data store. We will see an object called data store. So here we are learning an ETL tool. So we will be extracting data from source system and transforming it and then loading into the target. So here the tool requires a connection with the source system as well as a target system. Otherwise, how will you do that? So you definitely require a connection. So we will for establishing a connection, we need to create a data store. We need to create a data store. Data store is an object. Okay, it's a connection configuration between source system and a tool or target system and a tool. Basically, it's a connection configuration between a tool and a system. The system might be source system or a target system. So now I will tell you how to create a data store. This is the icon where my mouse pointer is there in the local object library. This is a data store icon. This is a data store icon. So I am right clicking on a data store, clicking on new. I am giving the data store name ds underscore the name of the source system. Okay, name of the system. If the name of the system is ECC server, and the type of the system, what type of the system it is, SQL. And the database. If you want to create a connection, so here if you want to connect to 2 to 3 systems, means for each source system or a target system, you require a separate data store. You need to create one data store which can connect to one system. So in a database, you will be having the database schemas. So which database schema that you want to connect. So that is what you have to give here. So here the standard naming convention is ds underscore server name, type of the server, database name. If it is database, if it is SAP, give the client name, client number, I mean system number and client number. Here you will be able to see the type of the connection, data store type. If you want to create it for SAP application, select SAP applications. If you want to create it for Oracle apps, create Oracle apps. If you want to create it for databases, select databases. And select the type of the database. You can be able to connect heterogeneous source systems or target systems to BODS. I'm selecting Microsoft SQL Server. Give the database version. I'm giving the server name. I'm giving the database name. After giving the credentials, I'm clicking on apply. Click on OK. This is the data store. This is the data store that you have created. There is no tables at all. So here you have established a connection between a source system and a tool, a system and a tool. So if you want to create it, you have to create a data store. Each data store represents a connection with one system. Let's take example like in SAP server, ECC server, you have 3 clients. You have 3 clients. For each client, you have to create a separate data store. Let's take an example. If you have a Oracle database, you have 3 schemas, 3 different schemas. So in that case, three different data stores are required. So now, if you want to get some data, I mean, like if you want to extract some tables or load into some tables. So anyway, as you are learning an ETL tool, you require some tables to extract it and load. So if you want to, then after creating data store, right click on the tables, import by name. So you need to import the tables into the data store. Import by name. I'm giving a table name. I have given the table name. Click on import. You got that table in the tables. Now I'm again right click on the tables, import by name. I'm giving another table. So you can import the tables in this way. If you want to see the entire metadata, just double click on the data store. So you will be able to see the entire metadata tables. So select whatever you like, click on import. That's all. So you have created a data store and you have imported some tables here. Now we will see a sample job so that you can get an idea like how an ETL job will be. This is a very sample job that we are going to create. Right click on a project, click on new batch job. Have created a job. Have created a job. Now inside the job I am just dragging and dropping a data flow from the tools palette where my mouse pointer is there. Just drag and drop the tools palette from the tools palette. I'm going inside the data flow now. Just before we have created this data store and imported these 2 tables. Once you drag and drop a table, into the work area, drag and drop a table into the work area, it will ask you to use this, you want to use this table as a source or target. You want to use this table as a source or target. If you want to use it as a source, click on make source. If you want to use it as a target, make target. Making it as source. And dragging and dropping another table. And clicking on make target. So you have to create a data store and then import the tables which you require. And then drag and drop in the work area. While dragging and dropping, it will ask you whether you want to use this table as a source or target. Now I am taking a transform in the tools. I have a query transform in the tools palette. Okay, query transform is used to map between source and target. is used to map between source and target. So you will know elaborated discussion about the query transform in the coming sessions anyway. So I'm just dragging and dropping the query transform, mapping between the source table to the query transform, query to target. So this is the source table, this is the this is the transform, and then loading into this table, extracting data from employee basic table, transforming it, and then loading into employee basic 1 table. So ETL. So now I'm double clicking on the query transform to just doing the mapping. Here the left hand side what you see is the source table structure, and the right hand side what you see is the target table structure. So in most of the scenarios, the source table structure and target table structure will almost be different, because the source system is a separate source system and a target system is entirely different. So the left hand side what you see is the source system, right hand side what you see is the target system. Now you have to map. Just select, I want to map employee ID to employee ID. Just select the employee ID from the left hand side and drag and drop on the top of the column which you want to map. Select the column, I want to map employee ID, drag and drop on the top of the column which you want to map. So the mapping is done simply. I'm moving, selecting the column from the left hand side, I'm moving on the top of the column which I want to map that, and leaving the mouse pointer. So I'm just validating it. I'm having a validate button where my mouse pointer is there to check the correctness of the mapping. No errors found. I'm coming back. Now I'm executing the job. Right click on a job, click on execute. So the job successfully completed. You have extracted data from this table and loaded into this table. That's all. You got it here. So this is a simple ETL job. So data flow is nothing but, here this is the logic we have implemented in data flow. How the data flows from source to target. The actual ETL mapping happens inside in the data flow. Workflow will help us for decision making of executing the data flows. Here, the workflow, job, data flow, everything is a reusable object. You can use it wherever you like, just dragging and dropping. If you want to customize it, you have to replicate it. You should not be reusing it. If you want to reuse it, just drag and drop. If you want to enhance it, Sufyan, so you are following?
Yes, I might just have one question regarding
yes,
the data store.
Yes.
So when the data transforms from source to target, right? That's what you showed.
Yes.
What happens to the existing data in that target table? Does it get like overwritten or?
So here, if you double click on it, if you double click on a table, you have an option. Okay, click on options where my mouse pointer is there. You have an option called delete data from table before loading. So you can truncate that data before executing it. This is one thing, and load a fresh data. If you click this, all the data in this table will be deleted and fresh data will be loaded. If you do not want to do that, and if you want to keep the existing data and load the new data, then that's fine. You can do that based upon your requirement. Okay. Anyway, this I will show you in the next. You got it, right?
Yes. So there is a checkbox for it, but the best option is to just leave it unchecked, right?
Yeah, it depends upon your requirement. Suppose if you are doing some unit testing and all, So while doing the unit testing, you require to execute your job multiple times. So there you will check this checkbox, and you will, for each job execution, a fresh data will be loaded, so that your unit testing will happen very simple. Okay.
Okay.
So especially in the data warehousing scenarios, we will not be truncating the data. In the data migration scenarios, we will be truncating the data.
Okay.
So it depends upon the
Yeah.
requirements.
Okay, thank you.
So any questions, Sufyan? Any other questions?
No, that's it for now.
Okay then. Sufyan, like we will meet up in the next session. So I have to catch something else. Okay.
Okay,
So
do I receive
you
like a link?
yes. So here, like to just brief overview about the training and all, I'll be responsible for all the technical related things of the training. I'll be sending you all the training material, and I'll be giving you the assignments, monitoring you your progress in the assignments, as well as I'll be assisting you in the BODS certification as well, and we will be giving you the server to do some practical part and all. So as you and the training, the duration of the training will be 30 days. So Sufyan, like I'd like to understand, like you want to prefer the weekday trainings or weekend trainings?
What is the timing for weekend, Narasimha?
Yeah, weekend, like we have we will be having like 4 sessions on the weekend. Like it's your preference. Like Saturday morning 2 hours or 1.5 hour, or Saturday evening 1.5 hour, Sunday morning 1.5 hour, Sunday evening 1.5 hour. Or else, like if you do not want to take 4 sessions on those 2 days, we can also make it 2.5 hour session on Saturday morning or evening, or Sunday morning or evening. So Saturday 1 session, Sunday 1 session. So it's like basing upon your comfortability, we are flexible enough.
Okay, but on weekdays we can only do 1 hour, or can we make that 2 hours?
Initially, has like my calendar is highly populated actually till April 15th. So at least like this coming week, my calendar is populated. So after that, we will make it 2 hours. So initially, we will make it 1 hour.
Okay. Are we doing the same time tomorrow, like 8:30?
Tomorrow we will not be having a session. Okay, so from Monday we will be. From Saturday we will be having a session actually. So Saturday evening your time. Okay, Saturday evening your time. We will be having a session, and Priya will get in touch with you about the timings and the meeting link and all. And we will be giving you the server access and all on the same day. I'll be giving you the material on the same day. Okay.
Okay,
So
but I thought this was only weekday, like this was like 5 days a week. That's what I thought. This was not a weekend batch.
Yes. Here, as I told you, like as the initial today and Saturday, we are expecting some of the participants actually. So the number of participants, everything will get finalized in 1 or 2 sessions, and the things will ramp up from the Monday.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, do I need to attend on Saturday, or like will there be like class from Monday to Friday only?
So that is what I'm asking. It's completely your flexibility. You can have a discussion with Priya about your flexible timings, and she will also look up into my calendar. She will be knowing about complete details about my calendar. So she will be setting up a time according to your convenience, and she will be giving you the sending you an email.
Okay, and are you gonna send me this WebEx link today itself?
Priya will be taking care of all those things. Regarding any technical aspects, I'll be responsible.
What about the documents? Can you send me some documents, or you can't?
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. All the documents I'll send it to you. Okay.
Okay, nothing today, right?
In the next session. Yeah, in the next session.
Okay, so on Saturday, is there a new class or you want me to join that class or should I directly talk to you on Monday?
Here, like, Sufyan, like, what I want to say is, like, basing upon, like, if
Like,
you
you know
want
how
to
this
continue
was the first class, right? Today.
Yes, yes. So,
Yeah,
where
so
the
the second
continuation
class
will be,
yeah.
the continuation will be, the thing is, like, as this is the first class, the continuation will be like basing upon your comfortability and the other participants' comfortability. We will set up a time. Okay, so we will also decide, like, basing upon your comfortability, whether the session happens from Monday to Sunday or from Monday to Friday or only Saturday, Sunday. So it depends upon your comfortability. We will set the time. So now you tell me, like, you want from Monday to Sunday or Monday to Friday or only Saturday, Sunday. So what you are looking?
Monday to Friday is good for me, but give me till tonight to decide and then I can email Priya.
Yes. So the first session, like, you especially, we will just have an understanding about the participants and their comfortable timings and all, so that we can check up our calendar and get back to you about the exact timings about the session. So you can touch base with Priya about your comfortability, like, whether you are looking for Monday to Sunday or Saturday, Sunday or Monday to Friday and all. So, or whether you are preferring morning or evening sessions. So just get in touch with her. So she will let you know about the actual timings. She will set up according to your convenience and she will let you know.
Good.
Okay, Sufyan?
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.